Were you successful? Let's solve it together. I'll start right below this ordered list and add a button with some CSS classes button primary, where I will say display details. Or maybe you should even say toggle displays now that I think about it, but I'll leave it at this. Then I'll add my paragraph where I say any text you like. Here I will stick to secret password equals tuna. And I only want to display this, well, if it is not displayed. And if it is displayed, I want to not display it. So really toggle it. That's super easy to implement. I'll add a property to my app component, which I'll name show secret, any name you like, of course. And I will set this to false initially. And now in my app component, I'll add a click listener to my button with event binding. And here I will simply set show secret equal to what show secret currently is not. So that is a quick and easy way of toggling it. So if it is false, it will be set to true. If it was true, it will be set to false. Now with that, I can add ngIf here and check if show secret is true and only show it in this case. Now with this and ngServe still running, if we go back and I click this, now you see the toggling works as expected, so the first 3 tasks are already solved. Now let's move on to the fourth one, logging it to the console. For this, I'll actually duplicate this button and comment out the first solution with the easy toggling, because for logging, I will call a method now on toggle display maybe, or on toggle display, on toggle details, excuse me, any name you like though. I'll add this as a method in the app component. And first of all, I will still use my toggling code here. So I will set this show secret to what show secret is not. But then I want to log it. So I'll name this log and it should be an empty array at the beginning. And then here I will simply say this log push, and I want to push a new number. And this number should actually take into account the current length of this. So if this is at the beginning has 0 items, this will be 0. So I'll add +1. So if you have one element in the array, the length will be 1. So the next element should have a value of 2. So this adds these items to the log. Now I will output it below the paragraph, and I will choose a div element here. I will use ng4 on it. And we learned that we use ng4 by saying let. And now we could say log item, any name you like, of log, so of the property you want to loop through, or generally the data piece you want to loop through. That could also be a method called returning an array. It has to be an array though. So here we loop through the log, and between the div opening and closing tags, I can now use string interpolation to output by log item. Now we didn't do this in the last lectures, but I told you that log item is a variable we can now use in the template. And that's exactly what we're doing here. I'm outputting log item. So with this, if we have a look at our application and I click this button, you see that I add this list. It's jumping around because I'm adding and removing this secret password, but you see the list is growing as expected, the log is working. Now about that coloring, the 5th step here. Well, it's easy to do when using a number like this. When doing so, I'll go to my div and I will start with the style, the blue background. So we'll use ngStyle, and we learned we need property binding for this to work correctly because we need to pass a JavaScript object configuring our styles when we want to attach which styles. So the style I want to attach is the background color. I'll again use camel case notation, though you could use single quotation marks to have background dash color as a name. And now here, it's easy to check if log item is a number, because I want to check if log item is greater or equal than 5. In which case background color should be blue. This is a string. Otherwise it will be transparent or white to basically have a non-blue background here. Log item, of course, is a number, so this check should be easy. And yes, you could outsource this part, of course, into a method you call here, generally having most of the logic in the TypeScript code. in the body of your component is a good practice, but here I think it's also okay to put it into the template and show that this is possible too. With this check now in place, let's see if it works as expected. If I click this button, the next item should have a blue background. And it does. So that's working, but pretty hard to read, right? So let's finish the second part here and give it a white color. For this, in my CSS file, I will define a white text class name, any name you like, of course, that's totally up to you. And I will set the color to white. Now this white text CSS class should only be attached if we are at element 5 or higher. So next to ng style, I will also add ng class and I will use property binding, so squared brackets, here too, because I need to pass a JavaScript object to the ng class property on the ng class directive to have it work correctly, because this directive needs to know which classes should be attached when. Well, between single quotation marks, since we have a dash inside the name, I'll add the white text class, the class we just created here, only if the condition specified here as a value returns true. And the condition simply is log item greater or equal than 5, just like on the ng style directive. So if this returns true, we should have the white text class attached, which should turn the text white. Let's see if it works. I'll click display details, so here the text clearly is not white, that is working. And now, looks good, blue background, white text. Awesome. Now I will show a nice bonus to the solution in the next lecture actually, where I will use timestamps because it uses an extra addition of ng4 we haven't seen before.